Yes, go ahead, Professor. Thank you.
Okay. Welcome everybody. Um, I don't know. The number of us this time is a bit less or lower, but let's hope that the others will join us sooner. Today is the third part of the potato production knowledge or informations. In this part, we supposed to speak about the pest control as well as the irrigation and some other tips that can make you improve your production. Um, Last time I do remember that some people were asking about the active ingredients for some of the chemicals or the pest controls that we were using, like the fungicide, the insecticides, and even the herbicides. So I have invited also one of the experts in this field so that he will be able to talk to us concerning this topic of the active ingredients and the other chemicals and the alternatives that can be used if those chemicals that I have mentioned in the program are not available somewhere, meaning you can find the through the active ingredients the other alternative. Um, let me first summarize what we have done in the first and the second part. In the first part we have talked about the general information concerning the potato plantations. We have also given a simple visibility study for the potato production, and we have said that uh, 1 hectare 1 hectare can give you a minimum net profit $2,000 per 100 days. If you are planting, of course, this type of varieties that takes 90 days. So in 100 days, you will have minimum net profit $2,000. Then we have talked also about the number of varieties that vary from one to the other, especially in the time needed from planting up to harvesting. And we said that there are a variety that can take 90 days up to 120 days. And we also, of course, we prefer to take to go with a variety that is short in the time so that we can get more benefits. Also, those varieties with the long period, which 120, maybe also can have some advantages in terms of some pest resistance or climate conditions also resistant or adaptation for example, for drought resistant or something like that. However, the varieties, as we have said, they are also vary. If you want to process, meaning you need to plant this type of variety. If you want to fresh consumption, chips or whatever other type of recipes that you want or use that you want to use your variety for. So meaning you need to choose or to select the right variety that you can guarantee that it will be marketed. And then we have also mentioned about the first important information, which is the land preparation. Land preparation, in fact, this is one of the main factors that can affect the production. One of the main factors that can increase your production from the day when you are preparing the land, because the engineering of land preparation are very important. Apart from the different type of planting methods, but the ridges that you are making, those are the ones that can guarantee that they can host a big number of tubers and big sizes of tubers. We have mentioned also that sandy soil is the best for the sizes and the number and the quality of potato or Irish potatoes. So, or also the second one is the light and well-drained soil, and it comes after that the non-well-drained soil, which is clay soil, and after that, of course, we have said that please don't plant potatoes after July, because especially in Zambia, because you need to harvest your potatoes in the rain season, where most of your production will be damaged and you will lose a lot in terms of quality and quantity. So it's not advisable. And we said also that according to our experiments, we have advised that the good planting time in Zambia started from the end of March, April, May, June, and July. Those are the planting times, the best planting times in Zambia. Then we have said also concerning the land preparation, as I am doing right now, and I'm going to plant 12 hectares tomorrow. So you make the ridges. There are two types of ridges, either the single one or the double one. Single one means you are planting one line in this ridge. Doubles means you are planting two lines in the same ridge. But in this case, you increase the width of the ridge. However, tomorrow, as I'm preparing those 12 hectares, it will be single lines. Single lines. It's already prepared as a single lines. And I have done the furrow, that I have told you before last time, on top of the ridges. And this furrow, the depth of this furrow is 15 to 20 centimeter. In this furrow, with this depth, I have added the compost. I have added the fertilizer of decompound, 4 bags per hectare. I have added the 2 bags per hectare lime. I have added 2 bags per hectare ammonium sulfate. All this has been mixed together and added to the furrow. And then, of course, when we add all of this, especially with the compost, it will take like 5 centimeter out of the 15 to 20, meaning around the 10 centimeter depth remaining. This depth is where we will put our seeds tomorrow. By the distance between the seeds is supposed to be 25 to 30 centimeter. We have said also that when you buy seeds, it is advisable to buy a certified seeds free of virus diseases and the fungal diseases, of course. And for the size, it's supposed to have to be a egg size. The size of the egg, they are the best, not the big tubers, because the big tubers, the way you buy seeds from the suppliers, you buy by weight. We have said that 2 tons per hectare seeds are needed. So if the tubers are big, meaning the number of tubers are less, meaning the area that you will plant is less. So in this case, you will have to intervene with cutting the tubers into small pieces, and each piece has to contain 1 eye or 1 bud, as we have explained it before, and then to treat it with fungicide, and then to be planted. But again, the best is to plant the whole tubers. And to plant the whole tubers, we need the egg size of tubers, so that we can plant large area with the same way of the bag, because each bag is 25 kilogram. If the size is egg size, meaning you have from 350 up to 400 seeds per bag. But if the size is big, you will have you will have 200, where you can see the difference from 350 to 400 means you are going to plant a large area. This is one of the tips, is that you suppose when you order a seed from the supplier, you tell him that I need egg size. Egg size. First, of course, you say a certified seeds, free of virus or virus free, and egg size. Egg size means you need from 350 to 400 tubers per bag, 25 kg. Then you plant with the distance of 25 to 30 centimeter, depend on the size of the tubers. If it is egg size, it's 25 centimeter, which this is the recommended planting distance. Before what I'm doing right now, I just came back from the farm, and that's why I was not able to prepare a slide presentations. But I said let us talk, because talking also we can clarify the image. So after I added the compost and the fertilizer, then I went again to maintain the farm. Then I am operating right now the center pivots before planting. So I didn't plant yet. I'm operating the center pivot to give, because the soil is very much dry. So I wanted to give with 100 speed, the center pivot is irrigating now, to give some moisture content for the soil, to make the soil a little bit soft, and to be a little bit cool. That's when tomorrow morning, when I go to plant the tubers, it will be good for the seeds. Then after putting the seeds or sowing the seeds with the recommended distance, 25 centimeter, you will need to bury very well the seeds. Remember, you still have 10 centimeter depth of that furrow. So you will bury those seeds with the soil, and make sure that you bury the seeds very well. And again, make sure you don't uh, um, put the seeds more deeper, so that you guarantee that the germination percentage will be high, and also the harmony and the of the plants of the germination will be good. All will be in the same time. So maintain the same depth, 10 centimeter for all the seeds. And of course, my seeds already sprouted, because it has been arrived since 10 days. And it was, of course, it was in the cold temperature, 4 centigrade, but we have taken it out from the container, the cold container, from since 10 days. It is in the room temperature, in the shadow, in the room temperature. That's why also the seeds now, all the seeds are sprouted. You find in each tuber 1 or 2 or 3 buds are already sprouted. Meaning tomorrow when we plant, then we bury with 10 centimeter soil. I expect that 8 days to 12, maximum 15 days, then all the germination will come. Immediately after you plant, your seeds, and you bury very well. Don't leave any seed exposed to the weather or to the sun or whatever, because immediately we need to spray the herbicides. We have mentioned for the herbicides last time, in the second part, and we have told you the name of the chemicals. Again today, we will ask our friend from this expert from Rainbow to explain for those who are interested, especially for the chemicals. So you will spray the herbicides, which is 2 types of herbicides, one for grasses and one for broadleaves. You will mix them together, then you spray one time, so that you can save money and the fuel and the labor and whatever. So it will be more economic. After the germination, that's when we will follow the calendar that we have mentioned in the last presentations. Day after day for the fungicide, then we spray fungicide, of course, if I remember well, it was by 20-25 days. So make sure to follow the calendar with a date, with the exact date, so that you are using the preventive measures. Don't wait until your plants will be infected, then we come to the treatment. No, let's apply the preventive measures so that you can keep your plants and your potatoes secure from any type of infections, either it is a fungal diseases or insects later. Then important after 35 days to spray the final K. Final K is a good source for potassium, which will work to increase the number of initiated tubers. This time for spraying the final K, we will spray it 3 times. This time, the first time, is to mainly to increase the number of the initiated tubers. And I hope that most of you now are remember where the initiated tubers are coming from. It is coming from this white stem under the ground. If you remember, there were 2 parts of the stem, white stem and the green stem. The white stem, which is under the ground, is the one which has all the production. Okay, and also one of our main target is to increase the height of this white stem by collecting the soil around the stem, so that we can make this stem white, and we force this white stem to initiate roots, and later these roots will initiate tubers. So final K in this time, after 35 days, exactly 35 days, final K will increase the number of tubers. We will spray it again another time. It's for increasing the size. And the last time is for increasing the storage of the carbohydrates, meaning also the size and so on, and the quality, so that your potatoes also can remain for the shelf life nice. This is so far the whole story, what we have talked about the potatoes. Of course, it's very important for each one of us, each farmer, to go in his field of potatoes or whatever type of plants he's planting every day. Every day you go and check your plants if there is any insects, if there is it needs irrigation, if the color of the leaves is yellow, if there is some dry, any type of symptoms. Immediately, if you don't know what is this, take a photo and post it in our group, or contact us, and we can advise you or guide you what to do, so that you don't have this pressure of the infestation or any risk for a reduction of the production. So far, this is what we are doing, what we have done. And so far, I told you what I have done up to now. I'm going to plant it tomorrow. Then I will follow with you also with the group day per day, or let us make it like that. Every Tuesday, we make a review. We also updated to you, all of you, with what we are doing, so that we can follow the procedure of planting potatoes until we harvest. Then please don't forget for the seats and for the orders, and contact Mr. William, so Mr. Tony, so that you can we can arrange the order for all the group. Then now, if you allow me, of course, if any one of you today or in this presentation or in this lecture, if anyone wanted to ask any question, it is his chance to ask. We are here to answer. then maybe I can ask if my brother Kelvin is with us now. He can start also to give some introduction concerning the available chemicals and the active ingredients in case in terms of fungicide or insecticide, or whatever type of chemicals may my colleague and my brothers will ask, so that we can clarify this point. Then after that, I will talk a little about the irrigation, because one of the most important items in the irrigation, the water are very important, especially if you are irrigating with center pivots or with drip irrigation. With drip irrigation, there is no problem because you are supplying the water daily. The water is very important also for the size of the tubers. The size of the tubers. Then also one of the important issues is that you must collect the soil around the ridges every time of you irrigate, especially if you are irrigating with the center pivots, because the center pivots, this sprinkler, they erode the soil down. Then you need to send back the soil around the ridges. You need also to follow covering the tubers that can be exposed, especially at the last months of your plantation, because we do not want the tubers to be exposed to the weather, because one, it can be infected with the potato fly. It will make holes in your tubers, and most of them will be rejected. The second is, if it is exposed to the sun, it will make a green tubers. Also, it's supposed to be rejected, because this is a poisoning one. So meaning we need to cover all the tubers, especially when the cracks start to come. When you see the cracks in the ridges in the soil, meaning your tubers started to grow and you are about to harvest. So meaning you need to collect more soil around your ridges, so that you can protect your tubers from the infection of potato fly or the greening. For now, I have finished, and I welcome any question. And maybe after that, we can give the floor to our brother Kelvin. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor. I appreciate that. Everybody, today, for those of you who joined us a little bit late, Professor is taking questions with any part of the process, and then we'll introduce somebody, as he said, to talk about all the other details, and he will talk about irrigation towards the end. There are no questions in the chat, so if you are able, I'm about to enable your microphones, so everybody will be able to unmute themselves, and then please ask your question. You are all unmuted. You're all enabled to unmute yourself at the moment. Thank you very much. So, Professor, I'm just looking out to see if anybody's asking any questions at the moment. Yes. Nimuchinya, could you please go ahead and mute yourself? I can see you've raised your hand. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you very much. Though I joined a bit late, I just found the profile where he was explaining about, I'm sure he talked about the flowering stage. I just want to find out, I don't know if he talked about the major reasons of removing the flowers when the potato at the flowering stage. How cardinal is it when you are removing the flowers, or how is this any big difference when you remove the flowers and when you didn't remove the flowers? Thank you.
Professor? Professor, you're on mute. You do not seem to have come on. Oh, looks like we've lost Prof. Oh no, Professor, you're still here, but
Hello?
Yes, there you are.
Yeah, because you mute me.
I'm so
You know,
sorry.
I was trying to send you a message to say that you muted me.
Sorry.
Okay, no problem. My brother, you have asked about the flower. Yes, it is, every plant. And by the way, tomorrow on Camnet TV, I'm gonna to talk about very interesting topics, which is the plant emotions. Okay? Hello?
Sorry, Professor. Could you say that
Yeah.
again? Or you've understood?
Tomorrow I'm gonna to talk about on Camnet TV about the plant emotions, and
Oh,
it is very interesting topic, how the plant respond, cry, smile, strategize, defense, revenge. It's a lot of very interested topic, in this one. It is very much related with your question now, because the idea of each and each plant is to produce seeds, okay, to keep the generations, to keep the variety of this plant alive. So for potatoes also, they started to produce flowers, and the main factor that affect the production of the flowers is the weather conditions. However, for the plant to produce flowers, meaning the plant wanted to produce seeds, not tubers, again, not tubers, meaning the whole carbohydrate processing and nutrient storages and whatever, absorbing water and the nutrients, whatever, all will be redirected to the production of flowers and the seeds, which means that we are losing the storage carbohydrates, a lot of the storage carbohydrates in the tubers, meaning the plant has sent all the energy to produce flowers and the seeds, which will affect it negatively on your production of the tubers. So the best is to remove these flowers. Why? Because our main target is to produce tubers, not flowers or not seeds. So once you remove the flowers, it means that you cut this line of the nutrients, depletion of the nutrients, so that all these nutrients will go again to be stored in the tubers. So this is so far, and in a very simple way, I hope that it is clear that cutting the flowers is good in order to increase the production. I hope that I have answered you.
thank you, Professor. You've muted yourself if you're talking, Mr. Chimunya. Okay, he's not come back on, so I hope that's okay. Oh, there you go. Could you go ahead, sir?
Yeah, I just want to add on that is very clear and crystal clear, so to say. I said so because a professor one time he advised me to remove all the flowers, but at the end of my production of the potatoes, for you, I see there are big potatoes for you. So I just wanted to inquire more. Maybe one of my friends maybe not aware about the same. So just something like an add-on because I missed most of the lesson today. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. You haven't missed the lesson. Today we're having a Q&A session, so you haven't missed that much yet. So Professor, would you like to go ahead and introduce your person, unless somebody else would like to come off microphone to ask a question? There are no more questions, Professor. If you go ahead, sir.
I don't know if Mr. Kelvin is with us. Kelvin?
No, I don't see a Kelvin here at all. Might be a good time for us to talk on irrigation while we're
okay.
waiting.
So we can talk about irrigation until he joined, because I've seen him in the beginning, but I don't know where did he go now. But anyway.
Okay. Thank
anyway,
you.
okay, let's talk about the irrigation. Like I was mentioning in the beginning also, irrigation is very important for the production of potatoes. So make sure you are giving your plants the required quantities of water every day, especially once you start planting, like I'm doing tomorrow. Then immediately after planting, we said that we will spray the herbicide. Then after that, we will start irrigating, and we give a good quantities of irrigation so that the tubers and the small roots started will give it a chance to start to be initiated, and then the germination will come fast. Please make sure you don't put your plant under stress. Any plant, any plant, I'm not talking only about potatoes, but any plant you will put it under stress of the water, meaning you will be late to irrigate, or you will fluctuate your irrigation regime. Then you will have a lot of problems later. If we, for example, if you put the plant under stress for irrigation, for water, for example, you're not irrigating your plants. So my brother, the one who was asking again about flowers, the plant immediately will fast start to turn into flowers. Any plant, by the way, any plant, any type of crops, you put it under water stress, it will flower fast, even if it is still short, even if it is still short and not don't have a good vegetation uh, over the soil. It will turn into flowering. Why? Because this is like a psychology. And by the way, this is one also of the books that I'm writing now. It's called Plant Psychology. Okay, so meaning that it will turn immediately into flowering in order to produce seeds fast, in order to keep the generation on this variety alive, like us, like human. So don't put your plant under stress, especially for irrigation. Of course, there are many types of stress: heat stress, irrigation stress, and of course others which can we will talk about this tomorrow also in the program. But water must be delivered on time, especially in the beginning and during the vegetation and during the initiation of tubers, and during the increasing of the sizes of the tubers, because again the tubers store the carbohydrates, and from where the carbohydrates come. All of us, I hope that most of us now knows the what's so called photosynthesis, huh? And this photosynthesis is using the sunlight in addition to the CO2, the carbon dioxide, carbon dioxide plus the sunlight plus water, plus water. Without water, the equation is cannot work. So plus water, meaning irrigation. So we need water for irrigation, then sunlight, then the carbon dioxide. Those three elements together, they produce carbohydrates. When they produce carbohydrates, these carbohydrates goes down to be stored in the tubers. This is I'm trying to simplify the those um, which can look complicated, but it's a chemical, the chemistry of the production of the carbohydrates through any type of plant. Uh, After that, of course, we have mentioned that 85 days, from 80 to 85 days, we stop irrigation. We stop irrigation. Why we stop irrigation? By that, because we are preparing ourselves for harvesting. Yet, don't fluctuate your irrigation regime, because if you fluctuate, you give a high dose of irrigation now, and then tomorrow you give this. After that, this fluctuation makes the tubers crack. Sometimes we see cracked tubers, isn't it? This is coming from the fluctuation of the irrigation. Plus, of course, is a shortage in calcium. So meaning you need to have a preventive measures, which is number one, you are adding lime, if you remember, with the fertilization program in the beginning. Then you are adjusting your irrigation program to be well done, and no, you don't give any chance for the fluctuations. Don't give a shortage of 1 week, for example, you don't irrigate. No, this is not good with the potatoes. Okay, this is so far for the irrigation. I can go more deep in the physiology of the irrigation, but it will come if someone will ask some questions. I don't know if Mr. Kelvin has joined us yet or no, because
Let me check.
Mr. Kelvin, are you with us?
No, I don't see Mr. Kelvin.
Maybe I can.
Maybe you can
Yeah,
call him.
maybe you can allow me to call him.
Yes, sir. Thank you. If anybody has any questions for the professor, please kindly use the chat or just unmute yourself. Then that would be perfect. Thank you. For those of you who are on the call, if you were not able to join part 1 and part 2, we do have the recordings for both part 1 and 2 and the presentations that Professor gave. So if anybody would like me to forward them the presentations, do let me know. Thank you. Please bear with us while Professor is calling Mr. Kelvin. Thank you. Sifiwe, I will forward you the presentation. If you're on the group, I will just resend it to the group. If you're not on the group, I will send you a link just now. Thank you.
Yes. I'm using it.
Hello? Are you getting
Yes.
me now?
Yes, Professor, we can hear you. Thank you.
Wow, finally. Yeah, I was talking to myself.
So sorry, sir.
That's okay. I see Mr. Kelvin has already arrived. Mr. Kelvin?
Mr. Kelvin, are you able to unmute yourself? Is that the one that says Pathias? Oh, Kelvin, no, there it is, Mr. Kelvin. He has not connected his audio. He's connected his video, but not his audio yet.
I don't know how can it is to do this. How can he do this technical issues? Me, I don't have experience.
I think all he has to do is click on his button
Okay, Kelvin,
on
if
his
you hear me,
computer
you
to
hear
press.
us? Do you hear us? Okay, until
He
he
can
will
hear
come
us.
with the voice. someone of us were asking last time if he is interested to plant potatoes during the rain-fed season. Is there?
He's here, but he's still not got his audio. So
Yeah,
he's
okay.
writing messages. Okay. I'm not able to hear anything. Oh, he says he can't hear anything. He's just sent a message.
I don't know what happened. What is anyway? What? Okay. Let me speak about this technique until he can connect with us, or we will see this technical problem. So
Okay.
for potato, one of the main advantages of planting potatoes. I have tried one experiment, and we have also done this with the collaboration of the World Bank by planting potatoes in bags. Okay. Meaning in bags, what we bring empty sacks and we fill it with soil, 20 centimeter or 25 centimeter of mixed soil, compost, and this fertilizer that we are adding. Then we mix all together with the soil, 25 centimeter of in the bottom of the bag. Then we pick our seeds and we plant our seeds and we cover. Of course, all the treatment for the seeds are done the same. Then sprouting also is done. Then we plant our seeds and we bury. Then we start to irrigate. Once it is germinated, we can start step by step adding more soil around the plant and unfold the sack, and we add soil as the plant grow, as we are adding soil around the plant. This way we are increasing the white stem. We are increasing the white stem so that we can have a good production. And this can be done during the rain season. Why? Because now you are planting in sacks, and those sacks are on the ground. You can put them in high place, or a place where the water logging, there will not be heavy rains or heavy water logging down, so they are 100% protected from the rains. I'm not saying to put a shade under shade, or no. In the open field, normal, but you are planting in the sacks. However, whatever amount of rains comes, it will be drained from the sacks, meaning your potato tubers will be protected, will not be damaged. Then, as much as the plant grow, you are adding more soil until you get like the sack is almost like 1 meter or less than 1 meter, little bit. All of this will be filled with potato. So you can imagine from 1 seed or 2 seeds per bag, you can plant 2 seeds. 2 seeds are up to 3 seeds in each bag. You can get a lot of production, and this way, every one of us, even in his balcony, in his home garden, he can do this technique, this tactics or technique in if he is interested to plant it during the rain season. Of course, you can plant during every time or any time, but especially those who are interested to plant it during the rain season, because the potato by that time it is very expensive. So you can at least feed your family without buying potatoes from the market. I hope that this little tips and the little technique is some people, I can show you some photos that some people has already went for 4,000 sack, and they have got a good production, I can tell you. So this is also one of the techniques that we can use.
Okay, there's a question, and also Mr. Kelvin joined, but his video was working and his sound was not working. I was wondering, Professor, if you have his number, maybe you can call him the way we did it with you last time when there was no audio, so that we can just hear him explaining.
I can call him?
Yes, if you've got a second phone. Are you using your phone for this presentation, sir?
Yes.
Okay, send me his number and then I will call him, and then at least he'll be able to.
Okay, let me send you his phone number.
Thank you. I'm going to read a question out. This is a question from Mr. Tembo, and he says, "Good evening. I've had several attempts at growing potatoes, both rain-fed and under irrigation, but they've always grown very small. What could I zero into?" So he would like some insight on how to make his potatoes bigger when he grows them.
Okay.
Thank you, Professor.
I've sent you by WhatsApp now the phone number
Yes,
of
I've
him.
got it down. Thank you.
Yes. And then to answer my brother, Mr. Tembo, if you noticed that I have mentioned some factors. Those factors are very important for increasing the size of the tubers. Number one, the type of soil. If you are planting in a light soil, sandy soil, the size of your tubers will be big. Number two, the water. If you are giving a good water, adjusted water, following the water regime good, not to put the plant under stress, water stress, then the size of the tubers will be good and reasonable and big. Number three, which is very much important, as I have mentioned, the potassium fertilizer. The potassium fertilizer, again, potassium fertilizer. We are gonna to spray 3 times of final K. We are gonna to spray 3 times of final K. Final K, after 35 days, you need to spray final K, which is rich in potassium. So we increase the number. Then the next time the next time we spray, it will be for increasing the size. Increasing the size of the tubers. Number 3 also for increasing the size. So 2 times for increasing the size, meaning the potassium. You have my brother, you have shortage in the potassium fertilizer. I can tell you this. The other one, if you remember, was this mixture of fertilizer that we are adding while the land preparation. I said SOP. SOP. SOP is a type of fertilizer that is rich also in potassium. So from the beginning, we are adding a source of potassium with the land preparation. Then 35 days, we are spraying the foliar final K or any type of foliar fertilizer that is high in the potassium. Then after that, the other 2 times for increasing the size. So to increase the size of your plantations, you need to add the potassium and spray the foliar potassium for your on your plantations, plus the water. Don't put the plant under stress. Plus, of course, it is good if you plant in light soil.
Thank you,
I
Professor.
hope that I've answered you.
Thank you. Mr. Kelvin is on the line now. Mr. Kelvin, could you go ahead, son?
Hello.
Welcome, Mr. Kelvin.
Hello?
Please. Okay.
Please, can you hear Professor talking, Mr. Kelvin?
Yeah, I could hear, though it was breaking. Unfortunately, I've only been able to get him now. I'd logged in, but I was not able to get anything before.
Anyway, welcome. And I was talking about the pest control, and some of our friends were asking about the active ingredients and so on. We have a specific economic program that I have posted in the last presentation for the fungal disease, for the fungicides and the insecticides, as well as for the final K, especially for potassium, because it's very important for the size. And I want you to just to give introduction for the chemicals that can be available for that purposes. Plus, if some of our friends will have a question, of course, so you can answer him. Mr. Kelvin is an expert in the chemical products, especially those insecticide and the fungicide and the herbicides, of course.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. I hope everyone else is able to get me.
Yes, we are.
Okay, thank you. My name's Kelvin Kalungwizi. I work with the Rainbow Agro Sciences, quite a new company in Zambia, but we're into manufacturing of crop protection products. So when you talk of potato production, obviously there are different stages that we can look at when it comes to making sure that we grow a successful crop. One of it will, as a first approach, would be to look at the soils, especially if you are growing them in light soils. You are prone to what we call nematode attack. So for nematode, as a company, we have positioned the product which we call Nemazet. The beauty with it is that it has no restriction, even when you're in production, and then you discover that your crop has been attacked by nematodes, you can still go in with a product which we call Nemazet. It's a combination of prothioate and abamectin. After that, the other things that you may have to look out for are what we call cutworms. These normally will come and cut your potatoes when they're at a younger stage or at a tender stage. So for that, again, we have got something that you can apply either at planting or just after the emergence of your potatoes. For that, we have positioned a product which we are calling Renprita. It has got two active ingredients. There is beta-cyfluthrin and imidacloprid. You might not remember the active ingredients, but if you can just take note of the chemical name, which we call Renprita. The other advantage with it is that besides the cutworms, you're also able to control termites because of imidacloprid. As you may know, when you're growing most crops, especially in Zambia, you find that most areas are prone to termite attack. So when you spray Renprita just after emerging, you find that you're also able to control the termites, which can be quite devastating, especially when you're depending on the irrigation that you are using. If you are not able to adequately wet the whole surface area, you find that termites will come in to attack your crop. Then from that stage, we are going into now during most of the vegetative stage, when your crop has enough foliage, you find that it will be prone to some fungal attacks. At that stage, again, the best is to go in with a preventive approach. Preventive, usually, as the saying goes, to say prevention is better than cure. Usually in crops, when you have a disease, you allow it to set in, you find that it's very difficult to cure it, and it's always advisable that you go in with a preventive approach. So for that purpose, we have a product, one of the products that we have positioned, which we call Azosta. It's azoxystrobin, basically to protect your crop against most of the common fungal infections, be it the blight, the powdery mildew, and most of the other fungal attacks that may come in. So you can go in on a program, especially if it's during the rainy season or during the cold season. You find that most of the crop would be mostly prone to especially late blight and other fusarium wilt. So when you apply this preventative product, you find that they will actually prevent the image or the germination of the spores, which might also come in to significantly reduce the vigor of your crop. From that approach, you can also go in intermittently, maybe after 2 weeks or so, or maybe after every month. You can go in with a curative product, especially when you see that the the environment is quite favorable to most of the common pests that, especially the diseases that might come in. So you can have a product called Mancozeb, which is a combination of metalaxyl and mancozeb. So this one is both curative and preventative. So with one spray, you actually be curing. If you have some traces of the disease, you can also prevent. Then besides that, the other common pests that you might look out for are especially what we normally call as tuta absoluta. It's quite common for those that would be doing tomatoes, but it loves the solanaceous family. So you find that it also attacks potatoes. So for that one, we've got some products as well, which have a combination of emamectin benzoate and other active ingredients like lufenuron.
Mr. Kelvin, it looks like it's reconnecting. We'll just give it a minute.
For the adult stage. I don't know whether everyone is able to get me.
Now we can.
Yeah, now, okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, so if you go in with something that has got emamectin benzoate, and you can also, mostly it comes in combination with lufenuron, so that it's able to control both the larva stage. The larva is the most devastating one stage, but then you can also control the adult so that you prevent the laying of the eggs and then the hatching, which ultimately would lead to the Lepidopteras hatching and then attacking on your crop. So depending on the season, when you get into the hot season, you may have to look out for red spider mite, which can also be very devastating. So depending on the season that you are growing it, you should be able to forecast, okay, this is the problem that I'm likely to face, and then you should be able to, as a matter of preparing yourself in advance, should be able to stock some of these products so that you'll know exactly when you are likely to face what challenge, and then you are not caught up by surprise. Yeah, then termites, usually towards the end, again, they might be a nuisance. We have got a product that is specifically targeted at the termites. As you may know, even especially when your crop has started producing the tubers, they are quite prone to termite attack as well. So you find that when the termites come in, they will be able to cut your stem, and then that would also lead to the tubers not forming because they will rely on the foliage, the aerial part, for them to manufacture the energy that they will end up storing in the tubers. So for that, again, we've got some product. Basically, one of them is what we call Penphos, and it has got profenophos as an active ingredient. So that one is also able to control the red spider mite. Otherwise, when you have all these products that I've mentioned, basically we may pick out from the whole range which ones would be most likely to be, which pests you are most likely to face depending on the period of the year when you are growing your potatoes. Find that mainly if you can have 2 fungicides, 2 insecticides, and a nematicide, and then if you are doing a bigger area, we also take it up. Otherwise, I would invite questions if there are any.
I've got a question. There are no questions here on the group, but I've got a question for, well, Nchimunya has said, where can we find your products?
So our products, basically you can
Okay, it's reconnecting again.
contact Dr. Reda. Is able to guide you actually work hand in hand. So depending on your location, if you contact us with your location, we are either able to direct you to most of the stockists because
Mr. Kelvin, you're going.
Hello?
Yes, now you're back again.
Can you repeat again?
Oh, it says reconnecting.
I don't know. It's a little bit. It's a technical problem.
No, it's just network. Mr. Kelvin, are you back? Can you hear us?
Yeah, yes, I can hear you.
Could you repeat where?
Can you please repeat? Yeah, because we didn't hear.
Yeah, so the question was, where can you access our product?
Yes.
But depending on where you are, you can actually get in contact with the Dr. Reda, and then we can able to facilitate for you. Otherwise, we have got a network of agro dealers across the country. As Rainbow, we actually work hand in hand with most of the credible agro dealers across the country. So depending on your location, once you let us know where you are, we're able to facilitate for you, either by sending directly if we do not have an agro dealer that is stocking our product. But otherwise, we're able to get in
But
contact
Mr. Kelvin,
with Dr. Reed. Yes.
Mr. Kelvin, because you are now one of the group of potatoes, okay? You are one member of us now, so we would like to have some advantages of your products. So in terms of the prices, for example, number one, number two, the delivering of these products. So maybe this one of the items that I want you to give a good offer for all of us, number one. And number two, I want to also to talk. You have mentioned. Thank you for your the panorama that you have taken us from day one until the end for most of the fungal diseases and insect and the pest diseases that can attack our production and what to do. But again, and this is for the whole group, we don't need to go for everything unless otherwise you have seen that there is a need and this infection is gonna to cross the threshold, meaning if you will not intervene with spraying, for example, these chemicals, meaning you will lose.
Yes.
So
Yes.
one important concept has to be kept here is to minimize the use of chemicals, and to if you did so, you will minimize the expenses that you will spend. So you don't need to spend a lot and a lot. The concept also that we have mentioned and Mr. Kelvin has mentioned again, the preventive measures, so that when we spray before the infection, we are protecting our production from any infection and from extra expenses. Those are the points that I wanted to mention. For example, if you see the program that I have posted last time, it is very economic one. It cannot cost you too much, unless otherwise you have specific conditions, you have a specific infection. That's when you need to go for buying another extra chemicals to protect your production. If not, so you don't need to go and buy. That's it. This is all what I wanted to comment here, and thank you.
Maybe one of you can mention. Sifiwe has asked another question, and she's saying, when I grow my potatoes, they have what looks like pimples and spots, and they are sometimes watery and go deep in the potato flesh. What could be the cause?
In which period now? In which stage she is talking about?
Sifiwe, do you want
To the tubers or
you?
to the leaves now? Yeah?
Sifiwe,
What
Is
is
it to the tubers or is it?
I'm not too sure. She hasn't specified, and it's not.
Because like we said, in each stage there is a specific symptoms that can appear on your plant, unless if you of course if you don't take the preventive measures. So we need only her to specify which stage it is in the on the leaves, or those spots on the leaves, or on the tubers. Plus I remember also something concerning the nematode. You know what? I hope that most of the group members are listening to us. You know the garlic. The garlic is one of the crops that we use it also to reduce the population of
Okay.
nematode. The garlic, huh?
Yes, the garlic. Others also plant there's a plant called it's actually used as a green manuring crop, which when maybe if your furrow or field, you can plant it
with the potato.
Yes. He's reconnecting again. Chimunya, you can go ahead and ask your question. If you unmute.
Thank you, madam. My question is concerned on the insecticide and the fungicide that he talked about. I'm really happy you mentioned today.
Actually, it also helps to suppress, especially after you have plant to plant, suppress the air too. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Mr. Chimunya, could you go ask your question again, please?
I'm saying I appreciate what is the mentioned on the fungicide and the insecticide. So my question is, some of the insecticide, I want to ask, how do you apply? Are those the insects and fungicide he mentioned, are they compatible?
Mr. Kelvin? Mr. Kelvin, can you hear? Apologies, his connection is very bad. I'm so sorry. It says connecting.
But he will answer. He's supposed to answer.
Okay, sir.
However, I advise to when you wanted to spray fungicide or insecticide, I don't advise to mix it together. So this is me, unless otherwise there are specific chemicals that can be compatible. But I advise usually spray separately. Plus, if you look at the calendar that I posted last week, also you find that in this day there is this insecticide. In the coming week there is another fungicide. So I have separated also the time of spraying.
Okay, he's not. His line has finally dropped off, Professor. So
until he will get us and get back to us and answer. But I have answered this from my experience. I don't advise mixing fungicide with insecticide.
Okay, thank you. Did anybody else have any questions? If you can just come off mute and ask the professor directly. Sifiwe, could you unmute yourself? You had a question.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Okay, so my question to the professor is the pimple they look like pimples that are watery actually on the tubers at the time of harvest when you're harvesting. So what I happen to notice is a section, maybe 2 or 3 lines at the different section will have these potatoes that look the same. So they are just, well, the sizes are big.
Yeah. Yes, I can tell you those are escapes or scabs, and this is a disease also. And I don't know if you have used a certified seeds or it was recycled seeds.
It was a certified seed.
Certified seeds.
Yes.
You bought it from here in Zambia?
Yes, I bought it from Zambia, EnviroFro.
Okay. So one of the cause is if you are not using the certified seeds, you may expose to this one. The second is also it's a sort of, if you have a lot of irrigation moisture content, they also you can find these symptoms. There is some pesticides that can be used. We can also ask Mr. Kelvin now that can help us for that if he come back. That can be used to cure your tubers before but it has to be preventive. It has to be before it will be these symptoms will appear on your tubers. It is like spots. You find it on the potato from the upper level or the upper layer, and of course this can cause a lot of rejection for your production, especially
Yes.
yes. And the other reason, if you are not only recycling the seeds, but if you are planting a potato and then you are planting again potato in the same field. Are you getting me?
Yes, I think
So,
that should be the problem.
that's why, if you remember in the first presentation, I've advised if we plant a potato in this area this season, at least 1 or 2 seasons after that, we don't plant potatoes, but we plant other type of crops, so that
Yes.
we can rotate, we can reduce the population of the infestation in the same land. So it is advisable not to plant potatoes twice in the same field, respectively. No. Okay,
All right. Thank you so much, Professor.
you're much welcome.
Mr. Kelvin is back, Professor, if you'd like to ask him the question.
Yes, Calvin, she was asking, well, there were 2 questions. Number one, can we mix the fungicide with insecticide? And number two, about the last questions for these symptoms of the spots on the tubers that can infect our production. And of course, I have mentioned the reasons, but if there is a best side product that can make a preventive also measures for us, you can mention this. I hope that you are listening to me.
Yes, doctor. Thank you so much for those 2 questions. Whether you can mix the insecticide and fungicide also depends on the specific products that you are using. Generally, most of the insecticide mixes with the fungicide. There are a few exceptions, especially those that tend to alter the pH of the water, which is the liquid that you are mixing the two. So you find that certain products, like copper especially, you find that it tends to increase the pH of the water, and then certain insecticides might not be able to work effectively under such conditions. Otherwise, generally, most of especially the ones that we supply, are actually very compatible. You can mix both the insecticide and the fungicide. And then most of the common diseases that would lead to like tubers rotting, usually you find that most of them are bacterial infections, and a few blight that could cause the potatoes and the leaves turning black, and then ultimately the plant seemingly rotting before they actually they grow, they undergo senescence. So some of them could be black scab, the fusarium dry rot, the stem canker, and other diseases. So we've got some products that you can use for prevention. Others you can actually drench the soil, but the best approach is also to practice crop rotation. So when you are planting potatoes, for example, you shouldn't use the same field where you had either used potatoes before, or maybe you had grown other plants that are from the same family, like potatoes, like the peppers, because they share the same diseases. So you actually be culturing these diseases. So basically, most of the fungicides and insecticides are compatible with a few exceptions. So before you mix, it's always important to seek advice whether those can mix. And then 2, it's always important to take a preventive approach, especially for bacterial infections. We've got some bactericide which can actually be used. Like one of the product is casugamycin. You find that it's able to protect most of the rotting that you are able to experience as you grow your crop as a result of fungal or bacterial infections. I don't know whether I've answered adequately.
No, thank you. Thank you. You have answered that. Again, we taking the preventive measures. We advise the crop rotation. Crop rotation is very important, and certified seeds also are very important. Mixing, as he said, his product is compatible, but me as a professor, me as a person, as a farmer, I don't like to mix any insecticide together with any fungicide because again, he said there are some exceptions. So I don't want to fail in these exceptions in anywhere. So I'm not taking any risk. This is me.
That's true.
I think the problem would be maybe you don't want to be going in to spray almost all the time. You go in to spray for fungicides, again you go in to spray for. So where possible, it's always advisable that you can mix, doctor. But of course, it's not a rule of the thumb that you always have to mix. Sometimes you have to seek advice whether the two are compatible, depending
Yes,
on the
yes.
choice of what you want to spray. Yes.
So seeking advice is very important. Otherwise, you can if you want to, unless you want to take the risk.
Professor, is there a maximum residue limit for potatoes? I mean,
Residue?
yes, like the way we have in avocados, saying if you use a certain amount.
Oh yeah. You mean for the insecticide and so on?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah. What I said in that program that I have posted, I have used the minimum. The minimum. This is the minimum program that you can use without any risk of any residues. Because if you notice that the last time we spray, it is before the harvesting with enough time.
Thank you.
Okay. Unless, of course, there will be, like, everything has an exceptions. But unless you will have some serious infestation or infections that you need to intervene. So in this case, you also need to ask and to see how best you can use some products that will minimize the residues in the tubers, because at the end we don't want to poison the people.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Maybe just to add to Professor, usually as chemical suppliers, we normally ask if someone is reaching out to the choice of the product that they can use. We always ask, at what stage is your crop? How soon are you going to harvest? There's what we call pre-harvest interval, where usually when the crop is nearing harvest time, we want to apply products that have got a shorter residual effect so that there's no carryover of the chemical to the consumer as they consume the potatoes.
Thank you. Professor, there are no more questions, unless there's something else that you would like Mr. Kelvin to talk about.
No, if there is questions, we can answer.
If you have a question, can you unmute yourself, please, and ask the professor your questions? I have looked at all the questions in the chat. There are no questions in the chat at the moment. No, Professor, there are no questions, sir.
Okay, then Mr. Kelvin, please, you kindly you can post the name and the phone number of you, or so that they can contact if there is something needed from the products.
Yes, I'm going to post in the group, Professor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Professor. Everybody, thank you so much for joining. We apologize for the technical issues, but it happens. Please do let us know if you've got any further questions. And if you're not on the group, contact Professor Rida to add you to the group. Professor, thank you so much for talking us through this journey. Mr. Kelvin, I hope at some point you'll be able to give us a presentation. Personally, some of what you said went over my head when you started talking about technical terms, but maybe if you did a presentation that sort of looked at, if it looks like this, it means it's this. That would be useful for some of us who are who haven't done biochemistry or haven't done.
Yeah, this is a good idea that you are suggesting now. It's a good idea.
Thank you, Professor. So, Mr. Kelvin,
no problem.
Okay, I will liaise with you in
problem,
terms of availability, and then maybe we can do something in a couple of days or at the weekend. No problem, sir.
Okay, you're
Thank you.
welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank
Yes.
you, Professor. It's up to you now to close the meeting. Thank you.
No, thank you so much. Thank you. I'm happy that we are coming together every week like this until we produce also the potatoes, and we will share with you the production as I intending to produce the maximum production this season. So I'm doing my level best to do that, and also to reduce the expenses to the minimum level so that I can increase the marginal profit as much as we can. Thank you so much, and feel free to ask any questions through the group text, or you can write your questions. We will get back to you. I will answer you as I will find the time immediately. And you are welcome, and let's push step by step. Please don't forget to fill the application form for the ordering of the seats. Please don't forget also to contact Mr. Tony. I think he's in the group, so that you can go in the group and take his phone number. Maybe you can contact, or otherwise we will ask him also to post his phone number so that you can contact him and arrange for the seats. So we will not be late for the coming planting time. Thank you so much, and have a good night.
Thank you so much, Professor.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.